Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruising podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write over at Cruising with Kids and Mini Travellers, but also, which we'll probably talk a bit about today, Extraordinary Chaos, which is a craft website.
Yes, very much. And I think that's the thing. So this is a topic you've decided to talk about this week. And I think it's a really good topic as well because it's becoming more and more popular. And it is actually predicted to be one of the travel trends for 2024 and beyond as well. So do you want to introduce this week's topic?
I will, but before I do, I just want to give Kieran, this is going to go out next week, the week after, but a huge congratulations because we've now got an award-winning travel agent in our midst. So do you want to tell us a bit about that first? I know that we didn't plan to do this. We can't let it go by, can we? We can't ignore it.
No, well, thank you. And yeah, it's a great honour. But yeah, I picked up at the Wave Awards here in the UK, Best Independent Travel Agent. So for those guys that don't know, the Wave Awards, they call them the Oscars of the cruise industry. So it is a cruise industry awards, and they have a mixture of kind of like influencer awards. They have some industry awards, and they have some agent awards as well. So it's the first time they've ever run Best Independent Agent. So I was quite vocal about it that they should have that category, and I'm very, very chuffed that I was picked to be the very first winner of it. Yes, thank you. I've got the award behind me, but you can't see it because it's on the virtual background, but I'm literally like carrying it everywhere. Like literally it's going everywhere now on my dashboard of my car everywhere I drive. Just, did you know? By the way.
I was stalking Twitter, refreshing it as I was eating my dinner to see what happened. But no, congratulations, it's great news. And we were up on the big screen, weren't we?
Yes, yeah, the podcast was a big feature. And I think they never tell you why you win these things, but I do think the podcast plays a part in it. So obviously the relationship that we have is a big part of this, and championing the cause of cruise, I think is a big part of it, type of thing, about how passionate I am for cruise. I think that's plays a big part in it.
No, I think it's great what you do all around. It's very well deserved, and it's not just about the podcast, is it? It's about your YouTube channel, it's about your sales. So no, it's brilliant. So yes, right. So moving on. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about themed cruises and unpick it a bit because we've had a little conversation before we came on to record, and there's just so many different angles. It's quite an intricate type of cruise, and there's different types. So do you want to start, Kieran, with the different types of themed cruise?
Yeah, so theme cruises can vary basically. So you're going to have some that the cruise lines themselves put on, and these could be really broad, like seasonal cruises. So obviously a lot of cruise lines will do their Christmas sailings, they'll do their Halloween sailings or Thanksgiving sailings, where they'll obviously overlay and dress and put on special entertainment for those seasons. So those in themselves are already themed or kind of experiential cruises. Then the cruise lines themselves will host their own, so they will have their own events or pop-up events. So, for example, they could have a jazz sailing whereby they go and bring on guest speakers and entertainers for kind of themed around jazz, or food festivals. I know Princess particularly have their comedy seasons. They'll have select sailings where they'll have comedians on board. They have foodie cruises where they'll bring on guest chefs to kind of do talks and to do seminars and classes on board. So equally, you've got them. You then also have another category as well of kind of like private charters or hosted groups on board the cruise lines as well. So these are usually run by third-party companies or by third-party travel agents. They will either charter the whole ship or they'll charter part of the ship, and they'll run their own kind of mini event within the main sailing. So there'll be special events on board the ship that other guests are on that are only available to guests who are part of that kind of themed group ultimately. And I know you've got experience with kind of some of the craft people that do that, but I've seen people who've done like 80s cruises. So, you know, they'll have special private parties on part of the ship for people who are members of the 80s party type of thing. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can do it. Private charter, part charter, joining a cruise themed sailing type of thing. There's a whole raft of them depending on kind of how much of a takeover the whole ship is, or whether it's just kind of a secret event that you have to be invited into to be a part of that group. So there's a lot of different ways, and I think it's great because it ties into whatever your hobbies are.
We were once on Royal Caribbean, God, it's years ago, and there's an American company called Party Light, which I think are candles, and they were holding their annual conference on, I think it was Adventure of the Seas, and I think there was 1,000 Party Light people. And at first, you know, when you get on and think, oh, for God's sake, it was all these women that were all cruising along with their pals and my age, middle-aged women. But you know what? It was so much fun. Yeah. We used to go to schooners every night because they were brilliant, and they just made the cruise, these women. It was so good. And obviously they had their own convention space, but that was my first experience of even knowing that there was a themed cruise, and Donna was on it, and we had such a good time, and especially singing at the piano, and it was brilliant. But I have been on a themed cruise, and it was on a celebrity ship, but it was chartered, and it was called the Bravo Cruise, and I mean that was just a phenomenal experience because Alfie Boe was singing on there, Catherine Jenkins, Wyn Evans. I mean Joe was at 11, I think, at the time. It was one of my sons that's 18 now. And he was on the stage with Alfie Boe. Like, everybody on the ship was jealous of him.
Really?
I love Alfie because he got half time. But yeah, it was such an amazing experience, and like I suppose an intimate concert. I'd definitely do something. I know that I'll tell you what I'd love to do, but I don't think Chris would. Q and I'd do ballet ones. Well, I love the ballet.
Really? Yeah.
I don't think I'd get Chris on that because he's not a theatre fan. But yeah, there's so many different types, isn't there?
That's an important thing to point out. Just to briefly, before we jump into kind of some of the more top in depth about individual sailors, but like, don't be afraid. If you do see there is a themed cruise and you can like thinking, oh, comedy's not for me, I hate comedians type of thing, which if you do, you're weird. But if you're somebody like that type of thing, of like, I'm not into that particular topic, then don't be afraid though. It's not like every single corner you go there's going to be a comedian lurking to tell you a joke type of thing. It's just going to be, there'll be a seminar of activities themed around that topic type of thing. So don't panic if you book a cruise and you find out it's going to be a theme cruise, that there's going to be a comedian under your bed waiting for you type of thing. It's not that crazy type of thing. It is very much kind of like a theme for the ship, and there are going to be extra activities around that concept. So don't panic. Unless it's a private charter, then private charters can get a little bit more all-encompassing type of thing. But if it's a cruise line scheduled one, don't panic type of thing. It's not going to be too OTT. You can still have a normal, regular sailing and see all the normal activities as well. I just want to put that out there because I don't want people thinking like, because I know, for example, like I'm on P&O's website just checking out, and they do like a well-being and lifestyle one. I don't want people thinking you're going to be forced to do yoga at 7 a.m. if you join that particular voyage type of thing. You can totally do that.
I wouldn't. Day at the moment. I honestly, if I haven't done yoga in the day, I don't do the weekends. If I haven't done yoga in the week, I've got the ump. No, but I need to tell you this story now. So I have done a comedy cruise, and I do hate comedians. I don't find them funny. So I am a weirdo. And
is that what you took personal offence when I said it?
So we went on one of those weekend princess cruises, and I was gutted. You ain't got to think, oh. Honestly, I mean, as an example, like the whole world went to see Peter Gay, and I've seen him, and he was funny. Yeah. But then Jack messaged us when they came out this year, so I'll get you tickets for Christmas. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm not.
I'm good.
I love him. I think he's funny, but I don't want to see him again. I've seen him. Like where, Michael Bublé, I've seen him 3 times. I'd see him again. I just don't find comedians funny. I watch them and think, well, that's humorous. But I just don't think I've got that sense of humour. I mean, if you're an American, you probably won't get this, but what I find funny is things like Brassic. Have you watched Brassic?
No.
Oh my God. Right. So I like stuff like that. So it's like, have you not watched Brassic with Michelle Keegan?
No.
And they're all like Scallies living in Manchester. So I like that sort of humour that's like a bit gritty, but I don't like somebody standing on stage telling me jokes. But I was gutted when I got on that cruise because the week after was a cooking cruise and it was Raymond Blanc. And you'd only think of all the weeks to pick. I'd have probably been escorted off the ship for stalking Raymond Blanc. But Jenny Eclair was quite safe. It's like, it's just not, I just don't get it. It just goes over my head.
This is why they're great, though. If you are, and that proves the point, though, as well, of like you just said there, you and not on a comedy, and it probably didn't have that much of an impact on you, type of thing. You probably never once went to the shows, and you still have lovely sailing, type of thing. But then equally, if you are somebody, if you manage to book onto the foodie cruise and you go on and they got the celebrity chefs on board, heaven made type of thing. So that's why they're good to keep an eye on, and kind of why they are our highlights and why the cruise lines do them at the end of the day. They are really, really, a lot of fun to get onto. There's a couple of I'd love people to do. I'd love them to do like a gaming one if they did like a computer game conference on board, or like a themed cruise. And I'm sure they're out there. Probably going to have people rush into the comments saying like, "Did you know?" And I'm, no, I didn't know. That's why I'm bringing it up. But it'd be great to do something like that, like a gaming one. But there's all sorts. I've seen some niche ones. Some I can't talk about on the podcast, but I've seen some really niche, like themed cruises type of thing. And yeah, Pineapple Club on board type of thing. You can have pineapple cruises and all sorts type of things. So
I'm writing a news article of stuff that I'm seeing in Facebook groups about cruising, And there was somebody in a Facebook group the other day, and they were going around on people's cruise cabins and putting upside down pineapples on the door. It just, I got mad.
I was telling this story to a customer yesterday, but I was invited by Virgin on a fam trip. And for those that don't know, fam trips are kind of like educational. So travel agents, they invite you on to kind of get to know the product better. It was a group of travel agents on board, and we were noticing some agents had upside down pineapples out on magnets outside their cabin doors, which started off the gossip amongst the other agents type of thing. I'm like, they're part of the Pineapple Club. Like, oh, they're really embracing the full spirit of being at sea, aren't they? But we didn't realise it was one agent amongst us who was being mischievous and brought them on purpose to put on people's cabin doors to start rumours amongst the groups type of thing. So they owned up to it by like the second night type of thing, but realising we were all secretly whispering to each other. But yeah, very mischievous, but very funny type of thing. And it was a bit of a good icebreaker.
If you do want to know more about pineapple cruises, if you search Emma Cruises and pineapples, she's got a really good informative article on it that is balanced. It's balanced. She's spoken to somebody, factual. It's really good. So, yeah. But the reason that this conversation has come about is because we've just published some news that about I forgot her name now, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Like everyone would be like, how can you forget her name? Taylor.
Giving you a complex now.
No, Taylor Swift themed cruise. That is a bit of a mouthful. That somebody's arranged in America. So it's a small agent in America, and they've arranged it going out of Miami on the day after her last day of her tour, which I thought was genius because, and it's not a big charter, is it? They've taken so many cabins or whatever, and I think it's almost sold out. So I think if you get the right thing or you find the right theme cruise for you, like I'd go on a yoga cruise. I would love a yoga cruise. So it's finding the right thing, isn't it? And obviously craft as well.
Crafting's big now, and I think so. I've just come off ambassador training, and ambassador, for those in America that don't know, is a really small boutique at the moment, anyway, cruise line in the UK, very small ships, and they say any 7-night sailing or more, they have a guest crafter on board basically every single time. So that's part of like their longer concept, but they do have themed craft cruises as well. So it's becoming a bigger thing. River cruises as well will have like wine. Obviously, wine, you're sailing through the rivers of Europe at the end of the day. Wine's a big thing, but they do all sorts. I've heard they do golf themed cruises. So you kind of, every time you get off into port, they take you to a different golf course along the rivers of Europe type of thing. They do food is a big one, obviously, because it's Europe. Wine we've mentioned, but like alcohol themed and food themed cruises to a penny, you can find them quite easily. But I think it's really exciting when you see the people who do the music themed ones anyway. I think they're really cool. I've seen musical theatre themed cruises as well. So obviously they have guest acts and entertainment and theatre stars come on board as well to kind of perform each night. That would be amazing. I'd love something like that as well.
Well, Ruthie Henshaw was on the Bravo cruise, and oh my God, I could have cried. She was amazing. And she did all like the sets for Money Bar, and she was brilliant. She was so good. That'd be right on my street, because obviously I go most week. I mean, I tried to book on, was it out of Europe? But it was an American company that run themed craft cruises. I couldn't even get on it. It was fully booked. But I found some themed cruises, right? So obviously Halloween on the high seas, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, so my very first cruise I did was with Disney Cruise Line, and it was one of their Merry Time at Sea cruises. So they probably more than most cruise lines go over the top type of thing with their seasonal cruises, and they do their own series of themed cruises as well. So you can do like Marvel at Sea, Pixar at Sea, but they do a Halloween season and they do a Christmas season, and it was so incredible to kind of have all the characters coming out in Christmas costumes, and they do kind of like the fake snow inside the lobby on the Christmas party night type of thing. It's magic. If you're a big fan of Christmas, which I am, it's amazing sailing at Christmas and having all those extra kind of Christmas themed events on board.
Love that. So I've just found on Carnival the Meow Meow cruise.
A Meow Meow cruise,
which is a cat cruise.
A cat themed cruise. In what way is it cat themed?
Yeah, 4-night themed cruise on Carnival Paradise is perfect for fans of the feline variety. Pets are sadly not allowed to come though.
Please tell me they've gone perfect. PURR for FDC. Yeah. Perfect. Yes, amazing. That's good copywriting, that is.
And then there's other theatre cruise. I'm looking on Celebrity. So Celebrity have got jazz cruises, smooth jazz, There's lots of themes, isn't there? There's lots of...
There's loads. And it can be a minefield to try and find them because obviously some of them are hidden away because it'll be a really small boutique company. Like there'll be some companies out there who will just host that one event. That's their job. Their job is to host, one or two themed cruises a year, and that's how they make their income type of thing. Others will be run by the cruise lines and they'll be a bit easier to find, but the easiest best thing is Google, unfortunately, because some are exclusive to different agents as well. So I know like we have Imagine Cruising here in the UK. They're renowned for chartering ships, and you could only book onto that cruise via Imagine Cruising. No other travel agent can book that cruise because that's the whole point. That's why these people do it. They charter the ship. They take the risk on financially because they're having to pay for all the cabins on the ship. But the benefit is if they sell it, obviously they're going to make a lot of money. But they try and offer something unique and different then as well by putting on that private charter. I know they do a lot of musical themed ones, so a lot of tribute acts. They do a lot of 80s cruises and things like that. So if you're into that type of thing, the best thing is just to like Google what your hobby is and themed cruise and see what comes up. And I'm sure probably for most hobbies you're going to find it. I know there's a company that do like 90s, 50s murder mystery weekends on board Cunard as well. So they'll do a Cunard and they'll have like their own gala dinners where they all get dressed up in their favorite 50s attire, and then they'll do themed events and themed music around that as well. And Cunard is obviously the perfect ship as well for that type of, timeless cruising experience as well.
Well, I've just found, I'm looking puzzled because Royal Caribbean is currently, I think it was last week, was it? So they had a high seas rally, the world's only motorcycle on a cruise ship. God, that's some really...
You can find all sorts
Star
if you really
Trek.
went looking. Yes, the Star Trek theme cruise, yeah. So that's one of those companies I was saying, the companies that that's their main income, is they do host events like that type of thing. So there's a big annual Star Trek at Sea conference type of thing where they take over the ship, and it's all kind of fancy dress costumes. There's guest speakers and all that. So it's like going to a conference ultimately, like your favorite fan conference, but it's on the sea, which for me is perfect.
So which one would you go then? If you could choose anything that you
I would love to do like a computer gaming one because I'm such a gaming nerd. I think that would be cool to kind of go away and play computer games on kind of the sea and to listen to kind of game developers. I think that would be cool. Obviously Disney, but you could just go on a Disney cruise for that and just immerse yourself in a Disney nerd event. It's just to go on a normal sailing. When I did the transatlantic with Disney, actually, they invited a load of people from like Imagineering and from kind of the film departments to come on board and do guest talks. So that's another thing that can happen as well, is you can obviously have guest speaker cruises as well. So Princess is really good for this. They'll bring on longer sailings, they'll bring on guest speakers to kind of talk about whatever. It could be a topic, it could be related to the cruise you're doing. So they're always fascinating and worth looking out for as well, to kind of find, guest speaker cruises.
So would you not run a gaming cruise?
Maybe give me a couple more awards in my trophy, and I've got a bigger following, then maybe. But it's always been in the business plan to kind of host our own groups as well. So we do it with Virgin. We've currently got 2 groups on Virgin next year on some of the shorter sailings from Portsmouth. So we're kind of just starting in that territory. We're thinking of hosting our own group as well on an Alaska cruise. We're in the early idea planning stage of that. Possibly a river cruise as well. So us as a small new agent, we are starting to kind of take on smaller groups. So we're not looking yet at ship charters, but we're definitely looking at the early stages of it. But for an agent, it is a big financial risk because the cruise lines will ask you to kind of commit to the cabins beforehand. So if they don't sell, you're obviously liable for those cabins. So there's a lot of like mechanics to navigate in the background, and kind of as you build your following, you need to have the database to fill that. But a prime example, and this is obviously for the gay market, but you've got the Atlantis cruises, which are aimed at the gay market. And when they first started, there was like 1 a year. There's like 5 or 6 a year now, and they jump around all the brands to cater to the different people who like different brands as well. So they do Royal, they do Celebrity, they do Virgin. So, that concept of the Atlantis, gay cruises has just exploded now. And because their database is so big, they're taking on like Oasis class ships, and they're filling Oasis class ships, which when they started, they were really small private events. And that's the power to, if you get the right theme cruise, it can just grow and grow and grow every year. I know Disney do a really good one with Time Warner. So, Time Warner movies, all the classic like 30s, 40s, 50s movies. They do a themed cruise on Disney Fantasy every single year. I think it's usually sometime in November. It's a private charter. You book it direct with Time Warner, but they do it on Disney because, again, it's that perfect movie cruise ship. It's got loads of amazing theaters for watching films on board. They've got the funnel vision where you can watch movies under the stars type of thing. So, again, perfect for like a movie themed cruise. And they do a private charter every year. They do loads of classic cocktails. They play up to like that really kind of timeless cruising experience and have a really lovely time. If you're a big fan of those classic movies, it's a perfect sailing for you to look at doing as well.
It is interesting, isn't it? Because obviously I host, or I present, I don't host, I present at a lot of craft events in America, just currently in the middle of one in the UK, filming another one for the America. So I do quite a few. And I'd love to do one at sea. I'd love to host a craft event at sea because I think it's a similar audience. It's funny because Donna put one of our craft files that was for cruisers, and we put it on all of our Instagrams the other day. And I got so many comments on my Instagram from my audience who are craft and home, who love cruising because it crosses over. And I think if you've got the budget to craft, you've also got the budget to cruise because they're both expensive hobbies. Yeah. Neither of them are cheap.
Yeah.
So I'd love to do that, and to craft at sea, it'd just be incredible because your topics and your scrapbooking and all of your different topics are just the world's your oyster, isn't it? There's so much you can talk about and craft.
I think it's a perfect medium, isn't it? Because as you say, people like to kind of cement their memories. So everyone does it in different ways. I do it via video content, but if you like to create something to kind of put that memory into your mind and kind of go, this was my time in this place. Crafting is a great way to do that, as you say, particularly with like scrapbooking or creating something afterwards to kind of just keep those memories together in something you've created, I think, after you've gone to these amazing destinations. And the cruise lines do a wonderful job as well about giving you little extra things. So I need to speak to Donna because I've talked to you about this before, but I keep like my Disney box, and anything that's not bolted down with a Disney logo on comes away with me. Things like even the confetti they've let off in the lobby. Yeah. I like take a handful of that confetti as like a bit of a memory of that confetti drop type of thing. And to be able to then turn that into something beautiful with a scrapbook or a photo, like shadow box is one of my hobbies. We make shadow boxes out of pretty much anything now. So things like that, if you get me, to be able to kind of create something from your memories, I think is really, really cool type of thing. And I think crafting is a wonderful way to do that. We have so many ideas. Things like our Virgin Voyages sailor bands, they give you a wristband to wear. We've got them all. They're all on the wall over there at the moment. We're going to create at some point a shadow box for the different ships. For each time we go on a ship, we're going to keep adding one of the sailor bands to it to kind of create something. There's so much potential with crafting to kind of turn your memories into something beautiful that you get to kind of keep forever.
Yeah, I've got all... I mean, I haven't scrapbooked for a long time because I haven't got time to scrapbook anymore. But Donna's got folders and folders and folders, but I've got scrapbook layouts from Disney with the tickets and, like you say, all the little bits. And it all does make such an amazing layout and such an amazing memory. So, no, I think it's a great idea. But then I also think, I mean, I am not a gamer, but that'd be incredible.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun to have like, computer game tournaments on board. Can you imagine like, fighting game tournaments and Mario Kart tournaments and all that type of stuff? I'd be in my element. I really would. Maybe one day, maybe that's why we do it. You do a crafting cruise, I'll do a gaming cruise, and we'll go out there, we'll promote it.
If you did it in term time, you could book for Team Club, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Or they've got the facilities there. I mean, what cruise was we on one? Must be a recent one. Oh, it was on that celebrity cruise, on that Bravo cruise. So every day because the kids club wasn't open because there was hardly any kids on, they brought all the gaming stuff out into the lobby, and they had loads of equipment.
Yeah.
Joe was with us. We went down and did the gaming hour.
Yeah.
So they've got facilities to do it.
Yeah, a lot of the cruise lines have partnerships. I can't remember which way around it is. I think Xbox and Royal maybe. So they've got loads of Xbox consoles on board type of thing. I think like Disney have it with Nintendo. They've got Switches on board type of thing. So they've all got different, like they've got tons of consoles anyway, like you say, hidden away. But yeah, that would be cool. I'm pretty sure probably it should be, well, we've still time, but I'm sure if we looked at like gaming cruises, I'm pretty sure it's bound to be one.
And as Royal Caribbean, they've not just signed a contract with Minecraft.
Well, that's Microsoft with their Xbox relationship. So yeah, possibly they do.
Yeah,
like it's one of the biggest games in the world, so it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, no, you are right. There is a gaming conference on board. So they do GACU Con. I don't know, Gaoku Con, the gaming cruise, gaming cosplay, animation, and more. So it's very much aimed at kind of that nerd culture, which I'm part of that nerd culture. But they do one as well. So they do a private chat. I don't think it's private chat. I think it's a group on Royal Caribbean by the looks of it. I don't know when this is, but yeah, they are out there. You will find them. And again, this is going to be the hard part about it, is trying to find them because they're not all run by the cruise line. So they're not all publicly available. They are usually companies that specialize in putting these things on. And there's a board gaming at sea conference. That would be a fun one, I reckon. Gaming by Sea is another one. There we go. That's the business plan. 2025, you heard it here first, guys. We're doing a gaming conference, and I'm going to convince Sarah to do a crafting conference. Or cruise, anyway, at least. That's it. It's on the business plan. It's done.
That's it. We'd be never home, would we?
Whoa. We're not home enough as it is, so let's just give ourselves more reasons to be at sea.
No, but it's just another excuse to cruise, isn't it? And I think if you're listening, then you're probably on that same mindset of us. So you've just got that bug. And if you can try and tie things in with your hobbies, then that's a great way to do it. Another thing that we've not even mentioned, which I suppose is bigger with river cruising, but I think MSC do them as well, is Christmas market cruises, because they're huge, aren't they?
Definitely for us in Europe anyway. We're so lucky being in the UK, how easy it is to kind of sail obviously across the English Channel and get to the northern tip of Europe type of thing, to do all those German, and Belgium, Amsterdam, the Netherlands type of thing. You can do all those beautiful kind of, even by ocean, you can still get close enough to the key cities to then go off and explore and do kind of, I know MSC's big this winter. They've got Euribia over sailing 7-night sailings and doing kind of the northern tip of Europe. So perfect if you want to get that kind of, Christmas market vibe on an ocean cruise. As you say, river and Christmas markets is fantastic. I've just come off now Travel Marvel, and we were too early. I think they start this weekend. So by the time this episode goes out, they'll be in full swing, but it's usually about mid-November time. Vienna was just, some were open and some were opening.
Right.
But yeah, across Europe. So probably from like the 16th-ish of November onwards, you've got more chance of getting the European Christmas markets. But there are dedicated river cruises for the whole end of November, all of December, where they do some mini cruises, 4 nights, or right the way through to the 14-night territory. And you'll be hitting all those amazing, like Budapest, Amsterdam, Vienna, Paris. You can be going through Germany as well, and kind of doing all those amazing Christmas markets. And they are so close. That's the one thing about river. We've talked about it in our river series, but you're docking right in the heart of those cities, so you can get into them. Whereas ocean, probably could have to look at doing a transfer to get into those cities, to get to those Christmas markets.
A good one to do if you was doing ocean, if you was doing it one of the out of the UK, is places like Cherbourg and Bilbao, because you can walk up into town, can't you?
Yeah.
So they're quite close, but then some of them you're going into container ports, and it's not that easy. But
I'm sure like Rotterdam probably as well. If you went to Rotterdam, they would have, probably Rotterdam itself will have Christmas markets, but then you could easily get, it's about a 40-minute train into Amsterdam itself as well from Rotterdam. So that's a good one to look out for as well.
I'd like to do an actual river cruise in Amsterdam at Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that must be incredible.
Yeah. Top of my bucket list soon.
Cultures, Christmas markets, and the different countries and different beliefs at Christmas. I think it'd be quite fascinating.
Definitely to do like a longer one. I think the short ones are lovely for a bite size, but to do like a longer 7-night, and to do one of the ones that picks up multiple countries, as you say, that would be lovely to kind of, as you say, see the different traditions. Because the Germans, even though Europeans celebrate Christmas quite similarly, God, that word's always hard to say. The traditions about, even just town to town, when you go to the small towns, the traditions will come alive then, and that's what River's great for, is getting into those smaller towns as well.
I once did a press trip, and it was all the different Christmas markets, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. It was just stunning. Really? And I know that we do. Yeah. I know we do German Christmas markets here, and they're amazing, but then they're not as magical. They're just because in Germany you've got the chocolate box buildings, and it just makes that difference. It's it's incredible.
Yeah, well, the one in Vienna, the one, I can never remember the name of this church, but there's a beautiful church in the centre where the main Christmas market is in Vienna, and it's just beautiful to have that church in the backdrop with all the lights in the trees and everything, and they always do different light installations and everything. It's just incredible. It's known for being, I think it wins the award every year for like best Christmas market type of thing, and I should know the names. I was literally outside it this weekend, just gone.
St. Stephen's, is it?
I'm so bad at remembering place names.
I've got an amazing picture of that. I've got St. Stephen's Basilica.
I've done it previously. No, you're right. This is Stephen's Platz in St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. So yeah, you were right. Yeah, that's the one. St. Stephen's. Yeah. So they were just, I think it was open, but we drove past it. We didn't stop off to see it just recently. But when I was in Vienna a few years back, we did do that one as well. We did all the big ones when we went previously. But that's the one that, from my understanding, wins or is top of the radar every year for best European Christmas market. And they specifically go out of the way where it has to be local handmade produce type of thing. It has to be local businesses. Some of them, obviously, and I'm being cynical, but some of them will kind of buy in their products. They're not necessarily all handmade or authentic. Whereas one of the rules for this one is every business has to be a local business, and it has to be majority local handmade crafts and artisan affair and things like that. So that's going to be that real authentic, proper, Viennese Christmas type thing. I'm looking at the pictures now and I'm like, I want to go back.
Oh,
Well, you've asked me, so what would be your, and you mentioned about Christmas markets, but what would be your dream ocean then? So if we're going to pick a completely wide topic, you can't pick crafting because we know you're a big craft fan. But other than
Right.
crafting, a musical theatre, what other hobby would you love to see a cruise for?
Well, that's what I do. Go to the theatre and craft. You can't take them two off me, really. What would I choose? I think a food one then. Food and tours. I mean, for me, if it was the dream, but Chris wouldn't go, it would be theatre. That's the thing that just gets into my brain, and I just am obsessed with theatre and the music. And on Sunday, like, I have to listen to Elaine Page. It's like, it's law in our house, and everybody moans, but it's the law.
Yes.
You don't like it. Yeah. Craft would be a busman's holiday, because obviously my 50% of my business is crafting. I design and create cut files. So I did try and go on one this year, but it would be a bit of a busman's holiday. But I think it'd be theatre. Or actually, I've no big giant desire to do Disney. I'd love to go on Disney because I'm curious, which is weird because I'm an absolute mad Disney fan. I love all the films. I love Disney. I'm going to Disney next year. And I don't know what it is. I think it was in the pandemic when they had all them parent bloggers on Disney, and it was just overrun with little kids. And I don't know, it just looks a bit, it just didn't look something I'd enjoy. But I don't think that, again, like the Princess Cruise, I don't think that's the real Disney, is it? So I don't think I can judge it on that. But I would like to go on at Halloween or Christmas on Disney.
We done Christmas, and that's my third. I don't know, Christmas, Halloween, they fight each other. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. I love Christmas, but Halloween especially as well. And particularly like Disney Christmas. I love a bit of a camp, a bit of a playful, cheeky, spoopy has become the word. It was a bit of a meme that went around a few years, but spoopy Christmas. I don't like horror. I don't like horrors. I don't like horror. And
no, I don't.
I don't like gory horror at Halloween. I really like the Disney playful, really cute. I love that type of Halloween type of thing. So I would love to do Disney at Halloween. Like, I know one of their traditions they have is the Halloween tree, and it sounds so magical. And I know how they do it, but I still can't imagine how it actually happens. But on the first day you get on your voyage, the Halloween tree is kind of a really small tree. You can't see the face on the tree type of thing. It's this character that comes alive. So it starts off really small. There's not many pumpkins on it. And every single night of your cruise, however long that cruise is, whether it's one of the short ones or one of the longer sailings, that tree gets bigger and bigger and bigger. More and more pumpkins appear on it until eventually on the last night of the cruise, then the Halloween tree has this face on it and it's got loads of pumpkins everywhere. It's all branched out type of thing. And it all lights up, and it's this full on kind of tradition. And every single ship has a different Halloween tree as well. So you kind of see a different type of tree, as design of tree on every single cruise. But the fact that expands and evolves over the voyage type of thing sounds just incredible type of thing. And that's just one small detail of the Halloween sailings. I would absolutely love to do Disney at Halloween. One day soon. Going to definitely
You've done it on land,
Disney.
Haven't you? You've done it on land.
Yeah, quite a few times. Done Disney World. I haven't done Disneyland Paris, but I've done Disney World for Halloween, and I've done Christmas at Disneyland Paris, Walt Disney World, and California.
I've only done Disney Paris at Halloween, but I think next year we're going to do it at Christmas with Mini Travelers. I think that's a strategic thing. But we've just wrote a press article, actually, nothing to do with cruise. And it was the Imagineers decorating Disney at Christmas, and it was like, oh my God, because it just seeing behind the scenes for me. I'd love to be there while they're decorating.
So I did, this is going off tangent, but hey, welcome to the podcast. But I did the behind the magic tour in Walt Disney World. And at the time we did it was expensive. I believe it's more now, but it's like $400-$500 per person, but it's a full day tour. So you join Disney in the morning and they take you behind the scenes of the attraction. So we got to go behind the American Adventure, got to see the animatronics kind of in their storage, but we got to see the costumers as well, of how they check the costumes each day for like oil leakage and things like that. Then we got to go to the costume warehouse. So we got to go and see where they make all the costumes for both the animatronics, but also for all the dancers, parade performers. We got to see them making all the costumes, fixing them, that type of thing. We then got to have dinner with an Imagineer, but I'm not convinced he was a real Imagineer, but we did get to go apparently have dinner with an Imagineer. And I say that in not in a horrible way, but like they have the Imagineers who build the rides and they have the Imagineers who maintain them. from my memory, I'm pretty sure it was Imagineer that maintains them. So he works in the Imagineering team, and the Imagineering, for those that don't know, who aren't nerds like us, they're the people who design all the attractions, all the parades, the fireworks shows, that type of thing. So I'm being very judgmental with that, but I just don't remember having a full-on conversation. It was more about maintenance, upkeep, and all that type of stuff of the attractions. But the highlight of it, the bit where I'm getting to, sorry, with this, is we got to go see the Christmas warehouse. Where they store all the Christmas decorations for all the theme parks or the resorts at Walt Disney World. And it was like a kid in the candy shop type of thing, because obviously they do such a fantastic job of theming all the different trees. So every single park has its own iconic themed tree, but so does every single resort as well. And that tree is themed to look after the resort during. So like Wide World of Sports and the All-Star Sports Resorts, all the balls are like sports balls. So you've got rugby ball, well, American footballs, you've got soccer balls, you've got kind of tennis balls, and it's really cool to see all those different ornaments. But then you go to like the 50s prime time, and they've got all the 50s icons and 50s balls. You go to the Magic Kingdom, and it's all like, turn of the century decorations. You go to Animal Kingdom, and it's all like animal themed decorations, and they're all handmade. You got to kind of speak to the guys then who do all the dressing and the time frame it takes to do it, and how they store the Christmas trees and all the decorations between seasons. It was just incredible to kind of walk into this humongous warehouse and just see lanes and lanes and lanes and lanes of Christmas decorations. That was really fascinating.
I think I'd have cried, because I'm in lockdown. I was obsessed, like, because we just got Alf. I mean, sorry if anybody's boring you, but you should watch it. It's amazing. But when we first got Alf, he used to get up really early, so I used to get up and always watch every morning one of the Imagineer programs on Disney. So they've got the whole series, haven't they? All behind the scenes at Disney, and they're just incredible. But maybe that'd be nice as a themed cruise, and then learn to be an Imagineer.
I'm not aware they do. I know they do like D23, definitely as a conference they do on land, but I'm not sure they do it at sea. That'd be interesting if they do. If they did, I'd probably sign up for it and pay the price that Disney asked for a cruise.
But so actually, there's loads that we'd like to do at the end of that, isn't there? And loads we'd like to run.
Yes, definitely. Well, you never know. I think we should think about it. And like, if you guys listening are ever interested in what we could do, and if you would be interested in coming on one of our themed ideas that we have, whether it's a craft, whether it's a gaming, whether it's just a group cruise, you never know. We could do we've threatened about this, haven't we, in the past off record, but we have threatened about doing a live recording on a cruise ship. Can you imagine doing that in front of a group of people if we did a magically cruising cruise?
Yeah, us and our two fans. Phil and Chris.
I'd say our partners cheering us up for the crowd.
The audience.
Do you think people would pay for the privilege of seeing this chaos in person every week?
They'll be like, who are they? 7Q and 2.
But we have thought about it. If you guys listen and are ever interested and thought of the idea of coming on a cruise and drinking your way around the 7 seas with us, then let us know, because that gives an indication of whether or not our crazy idea has actually any legs, type of thing. But definitely it's on my business plan anyway to do more group cruises in the future, because I love them and I love kind of sharing cruise with new customers. And it's great, I think, for new customers anyway to kind of know, maybe in my instance, the travel agent's going to be on board. So if there's any questions they've got, or they're nervous about sailing for the first time, I think they love knowing, at least I think they do, love having that handheld type of thing of knowing their travel agents, not just available on WhatsApp in my case, but they're actually there on person. And if the travel agent's going to be on the cruise, then I think that's another reassurance of type of thing. If I'm going to be there in person for you, I can hide from you if you're not happy, type of thing. I think that's a weird way of saying that. I'm confident you would enjoy it if I'm going to do a group on it, because I wouldn't want to do a group on a cruise I'm not going to enjoy, because I wouldn't want to hide from you for 7 days, type of thing. Very waffly response to that. I don't know where I was going with that point.
Where's Wally on a ship? Where's Cupid? Your stripy t-shirt.
Hiding from everyone, type of thing. I'm like, no, the food wasn't warm.
Another thing we talked about before we leave it is a solo cruise, because there's so many people that want to cruise but don't want to cruise on their own because they don't feel safe. So I think that's also something that I'd like to host, because I mean, when we went on our cruise and when we met, we obviously, you with Phil and ours, we've done it, but a lot of people were on their own, weren't they? And everybody just bonded and we did stuff as a group. So I think that's a really good way for people that want to do these things but want that safety net of other people that they can mix with or they can avoid if they want to.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people do a lot of group solo cruises, because I think, as you say, it's nice to have that knowing there's someone there type of thing, so you can be as hands-on or hands-off. But if you are somebody who just likes to go away but you don't want to be completely alone, Solo cruise, group cruises are fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Well,
As you say, for knowing you've got that somebody you can go to, or there's regular times that you can make friends, and that icebreaker of knowing you're all in this together type of thing. I think we talked about it briefly in the Virgin Voyages episode, but whether you book on a group cruise or not, they do a really good host of the first night. So the first night you get a letter to go meet with a member of the crew, the Happenings cast, and they kind of introduce you to other solo sailors, and then they will be at the dinner that night as well. So on the first night you get to know the Happenings cast member, and they introduce you to other solos. But I think having an organized group on other cruise lines, that could be a really good option as well for people. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's again, we always talk broadly, but I think we do go into quite a lot of details. But that was a good kind of chat about the different types of group cruises, whether it's chartered, whether it's a hosted, or whether it's kind of just a themed cruise by the cruise lines. But I think there's a whole world of kind of themed cruises, and I think they're really great if you are somebody who has a particular interest and you want to just expand that on your private time or your holiday time. I think definitely hunt them down. Like I say, there is no official list because some of them are run by private companies, some are run by the cruise lines. Just search your hobby themed cruise or your hobby group cruise, and you've got a strong chance of finding them out. If you'd love to come on one that we organise, whether it is some of the ideas we've had today or something you think would be great to do, in, let us know, because we'd love to know what you'd like us to do. You never know, it could come to your cruise lines near you soon. But if you have enjoyed this episode, I know, Sarah, you've got a ton of information about cruising in general on your website. Where's the best place the guys can hunt that down?
So you can find us on Cruising for All or cruisingwithkids.com, and anything you want to find on the website, if you just go into the search bar and type, we've got an amazing search feature that just brings everything up. So just search. And
then for the guys as well, because you mentioned about your crafting stuff, do you want to just say a little bit more about kind of the type of crafting you have on your website as well, and just to let the guys know where to find that as well?
Yep. So I design and draw my own files, printables and SVG files, lots and lots of alphabets. I'm obsessed with alphabets for Cricut and Silhouette users, or Brother Cut and Scan or Glowforge, that you can just download my files. They're all free, and then you can craft and make your own cards, banners, scrapbooking layers. I mean, the world's your oyster, but it's got everything. I mean, if I haven't got it, and tell me, but I've got most things, and and that's at extraordinarychaos.com.
Yeah, and they're great as well. So if you're somebody who likes to decorate your door on your cabin door as well, because some people like to do that so they can spot their cabin door type of thing, you've got tons of assets for that type of stuff in there. If people want to decorate their door for like an event or an occasion or a theme, tons of files.
And we've got that, on my site, but then we've also got it on Cruising with Kids, Cruising for All. We've got Disney themed doors, but yeah, I've got cocktail glasses. If you've got 50, you've got the numbers you can print out, everything, and you just print it on magnetic paper, and that's it. It's so easy.
No, so definitely guys, hunt that down. There's tons of information there as well. If you are ever interested in booking either yourself as a group, or whether you want to book a cruise and you live in the UK, I would love to help you set sail. You could find me online under magical-traveler.com, or you can find me on social media under magical TRVLR, pretty much everywhere. But yeah, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please, 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 I am begging you, please leave us a review on Google, Google, Apple, or Spotify. Those platforms are starting to recommend us to people, and those reviews that you have been leaving, or those ratings, do definitely help let those platforms know that you're enjoing this. And equally, if you're on YouTube, definitely give us a like and a subscribe, because again, it lets YouTube know you're enjoying this. And it's lovely seeing all your comments and your feedback, kind of thing, of what you enjoy about the podcast and how it's helped you as well plan your next cruise as well. So we definitely love seeing those comments, but also the algorithms love it because it helps spread the word of our podcast as well. But other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.